Welcome to the More Than Fitness podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Minisode number 94 on the More Than Fitness podcast. Today's topic is one very near and dear to my expertise, specialty, field, whatever you want to call it, right? We're talking about adjusting your diet when life gets busy. I would say this is one of the main reasons why people hire me. And I think it's also one of the main things that I've focused on becoming the most proficient at in the fitness industry. Honestly, it's because I've been my own guinea pig, right? I've wanted to be able to live my life exactly how I want to live it without being limited by fitness. And so in order to do that, I've had to develop these tools and skills and mental frameworks and how to make decisions and this background knowledge, et cetera, on how to do that efficiently and effectively. And then, of course, whenever the people come to work with me, I've had to do the same thing with them. And so I've been able to critically think through their problems and figure out different ways that I can hopefully divulge to you guys in this minisode, give you all my little, or at least a few of my little tips and tricks and secrets, right? The reason why I wanted to make this is because it's easy to follow a plan whenever life is normal, right? But what do you do when things don't go to plan? This is actually why I don't like meal plans in the first place. I recently had a client come to me, and I say this with meal plans and meal prep, and they kind of go hand in hand, of course. But the client was talking about how she had something happen last minute, and then she wasn't able to prep her food for the next 3 or 4 days. And so she was kind of stuck whenever it came to, okay, I need to make healthy choices, right? I need to watch what I eat, quote unquote, right? And so I was like, okay, well, that tells me that we have to make sure that you do have those, like I said before, that those mental frameworks and the background knowledge to make the better choice, even whenever you don't have your meals prepped for the week. And this is why I don't like meal plans, is because anybody can follow a meal plan, right? That just shows that you're good at following directions. But the real challenge comes whenever real life happens, which is often, right? Things don't go according to plan. So it's like whenever you fall off track of your meal plan, then what happens? Whenever you can't make that meal prep for the next 3 days, what do you do? And that's where the meal plan is deficient, right? So I think it's missing a few pieces of the puzzle. I think it could be a nice supplement, at least in the beginning, to give people ideas on just a general idea of a template on how to eat. But as far as an absolute system to follow consistently to manage your nutrition throughout your entire life, it's you're going to fail eventually, right? And so learning how to make the better choice can be a skill that you can learn. And this is exactly what I try and teach my clients. And I'll use myself as an example. So I always have, so that I can make the better choice whenever, I don't have a strict regimen that I'm following. But whenever I'm home, I always have a few base meals available at home that are easy to prepare and allow me to stay on track. So some examples of this is, one thing that I do is I typically keep my the beginning of my day the same. So as far as meals go, so for breakfast, for lunch, and actually, so I typically have about 3 meals and one like smaller meal or snack per day. And usually 3 out of those 4 meals are roughly the same. I leave dinner up in the air, right? Because typically people want more flexibility and variety whenever it comes to dinner. So it makes it really easy for me to keep my breakfast and lunch the same, and then my snack before bed, I can keep all of those the same, because whenever I figure out the calories and macros and basically whatever I eat for those meals, then I know, okay, if I have a really heavy dinner for example, well, then I can alter, if I know I'm going to have a very heavy dinner as far as calories go, fat, whatever, then I know I can adjust those other meals slightly. I can take off 100 or 200 calories for each meal and snack, and then that can kind of balance things out a little bit very easily, right? I can just make a better choice within those meals that stay the same, and that's super easy for me. So I have those base meals, and then I also have somewhat like base foods, right? So for example, some of these things would be like a deli meat sandwich. You guys have seen me. I get messages on Instagram, people messaging me, mimicking my lunch, which I just had a little bit ago, but it's just like it's a deli meat turkey sandwich, right? I have baked chips, I have whole wheat bread, I have spinach, I have tomato, I have cheese, and then possibly some fresh fruit. So that would be a base meal. In the morning, I can also have a protein shake with some fruit or maybe some cashews, just some nuts, something like that. But I have these foods, basically a combination of different foods that I can mix and match together that aren't also going to be instantly perishable. Or at least I know I always try and keep them in stock. So, for example, the foods that I'm talking about would be things like deli meat, bread, baked chips, fresh fruit, protein shakes, Greek yogurt, single serving bags of nuts. The single serving is key because you don't want a big thing of salted almonds, for example, or salted peanuts, because then you know how easy it is to overeat if you really like those foods. Oatmeal would be another example. It depends on. So like bagels would be another example, different oatmeal cereals or frosted mini wheats or something, right? Just little things that maybe aren't the absolute best, right? But they're still going to get the job done the majority of the time so that I can be consistent 80% of the time and make that better choice. I will always have these foods available so that if I do come up in a pinch or I don't have the perfect meal planned, I know, okay, I've got a few options in my fridge. I can mix and match this and that, and then I'll be all set. So what I would recommend is to figure out a base meal schedule that you can stick to the majority of the time, and then also have some base foods, some healthy foods that you enjoy eating, right? Keep those always stocked so that whenever you do have to go off plan or whenever things do get chaotic, you're ready, right? And this also goes for things like if you travel often, make sure you have travel foods ready to go. Right? Have those ready to drink protein shakes, have those single servings of nuts. I think it's very helpful. Let's see. Next, what I would recommend whenever adjusting your diet when life gets busy is to think about, to have the same, I know I've used the phrase often, so mental frameworks. I like that because it's how you make better decisions. And that's something that I'm obsessed with whenever it comes to fitness, because you can make a better choice in the moment, right? Based on whatever it is that life throws at you. The reason why the meal plan falls short is because it's set for a particular set of conditions, right? But whenever life gets chaotic, then you need to know how to make decisions that best fit your goals. And so I wanted to tell you guys, I made a post on this for my clients in the private Instagram page, but I will mention it here. A few things that run through my mind before I make a meal. This is kind of what I ask myself. If you're watching on the video podcast, I'm going to look down for a second and make sure I read these off correctly. First is, what have I already eaten today and what do I plan on eating later? Am I going to have time to eat a big meal later? Or am I going to be short on time, right? So the collective, how many calories have I already eaten? And then how many calories am I allotted for the entire day? Calories are most important whenever it comes to body composition. So that's going to be super important, right? So what have I already eaten today and what do I plan on eating later? And am I going to have time to eat a big meal later, or am I going to be short on time and have to eat something a little bit smaller? That can dictate how big or small the meal is that you eat currently. The second part of that is, what am I craving / feeling like eating right now? And then can I fit in that craving to my macronutrient / micronutrient goals for the day? Do I have that food available, right? Do you have that food available in your fridge? Do you need to go to the grocery store to get that stuff? Do you have to order food, right? Should I go get the food to prepare it for tomorrow instead? Right? These are all things that I think about. I think about the composition of the meal. Can I fit that craving to my micronutrient goals for the day? That is also going to be super important. Third is, how can I combine the foods to make sure I have enough quality protein? So at least about 25 grams of protein, carbohydrates, fats, and fiber / micronutrients for that whole meal. So basically I want a balanced meal. That's all I'm saying there. I want to have a decent amount of protein, right? I want to have a decent amount of carbohydrates and then a little bit of fats. That's typically how I think about with my meals, right? So for example, this would be in the morning, if I have a protein shake, for example. So you have the protein covered, right? But then or actually, a good example of this was whenever Mao got me a cinnamon roll the other day from a Danish bakery here. And of course, I want to eat the cinnamon roll. Like, I want to enjoy that. But the thing is that cinnamon roll is very high in calories, and it's also very devoid in most nutrients, right? And it's also very high in fat. So the choices that I want to make around that meal are, I got to check the box for protein. So I added a protein shake with the cinnamon roll. And then also, what's the cinnamon roll missing? It's missing micronutrients and fiber. And so what I would have in addition with that would be things like blueberries or strawberries or raspberries or whatever, some type of fruit and fiber to go with it, right? To pair with it. And that makes it a more balanced and complete meal, right? Let's see. Am I good on time? Yes. Because I'm about to wrap this up. Number 4 is, how is this meal going to make me feel after I eat it? This is also something that runs through my head. Am I going to feel energetic and satisfied because I stayed on track? Or am I going to feel sluggish and guilty because I overate? That's something to think of as well. And then 5, from a weekly standpoint, how on track have I been? If I've been on track for more than 80% of the time, I'm fine with eating a less nutritious but highly enjoyable meal, right? Because all we're aiming for is consistency 80% of the time, the majority of the time making the right choice. But if I've eaten shitty foods for the past 3 days, well, then it's probably a really good idea for me to try and really fit in a salad and make this day much better, right? So from a weekly standpoint as a collective, how on point have I been? I don't want to say, oh, I've been off, or I've eaten shitty foods for the past 2 days, so I'm just going to keep eating shitty for the entire week, and then I'll start fresh on Monday. It's like, no, that's not how you should be thinking about it. Get on track as quickly as possible. And yeah, that's it. And so collectively, overall, we want to make sure that you're confident and trust in yourself to make pretty good choices even when you're not prepared. That's the main goal that I want to get across to you guys with how to adjust your diet whenever life gets busy. If you guys want to know more concrete examples, more practical tips, and how to apply this to your own life, I can give you guys a little plug. This is exactly why I made my Automated Fitness 2.0 product. I'm not going to go into it too deep here, but I made it around these exact questions and answers that I've been going through, and how I make these decisions, and I give practical examples within that. And yeah, if what you just heard interests you a lot, you would love Automated Fitness. So I'll put a link in the description for you guys to check that out. And that is it for Minisode number 94 on the More Than Fitness podcast. As always, thank you guys so much for listening and for watching. See ya.